Hello my gorgeous people, my name is Sasha Bonasin and I'm a psychic medium, and these are your weekly horoscope tarot card readings, and they are from the 31st of August until the 6th of September 2020. So they are from the 31st of August until the 6th of September 2020, and I am going to start with my gorgeous and ever so precious Erini. My gorgeous Aries, my beautiful Erinis, it looks like you are going to have a quite interesting option to choose from this week, but it's only going to happen right at around the end of that particular week, maybe within the last 2 or 3 days. These last 2 or 3 days are going to be rather significant and very, very important indeed. I have to admit and I have to say that it's to do with a quite challenging situation being attached to it, which means that in itself this opportunity is not going to seem as significant or as important how it's actually going to be. So it's to do with a tiny little change, but that change is going to evolve into something absolutely enormous, because on one hand there is an obstacle that you're also going to be able to go over with this particular situation. So it's to do with a little bit of a chain reaction that you're going to have at the same time, and this always happens before something major is about to enter our lives, in particular when it comes to the one particular person, one significant person who is going to be playing a major role in in your life later on. But that particular person is going to have an important information or news for you this week as well. What I want to stress, my gorgeous Erin, is that this is the time of transformation, so it is just very important for you to try to focus on things around you. Try to focus on your immediate environment, or also try to focus on things that are working for you and things that are actually not working for you in your immediate environment, whether this is at home, whether this is in your workplace, whether this is in your office. It really depends, but it's rather important to try to remember that the energy this week is going to be very similar to the energy of the new moon. I mentioned this before, every day is a different energy. It really depends on so many different aspects, but when it comes to the actual full moon energy and the actual new moon energy, these energies are really particular, and we tend to do things along this energy which helps us out quite a lot on our spiritual journeys. But when I mention the actual new moon energy, which is going to be quite significant for you, my gorgeous Erinis, it means that you just have to pay attention to things around you and move things a little bit, change things a little bit, do things slightly differently as well. And this is also going to have a quite important and powerful vibrational impact on yourself, which is going to re-energize you later on, but also it opens your eyes, and therefore we find ourselves getting ideas or kind of understanding certain things about ourselves and about our lives from a slightly different level, and that reflects on us by having certain ideas that we wouldn't normally have. And these ideas that you're gonna have through this situation, through this impact, it's just something that is going to be not beneficial for you, but it's going to be kind of super beneficial for you and super important. Just remember, it is to do with transformation. It is to do with the fact that you're clearing away the old in order to make a place for the new. The more alteration and edits and adjustments you make in your life, and not only when it comes to things around you, not only when it comes to your immediate environment, but also when you're kind of sitting down with yourself, when you're relaxing, just keep on paying attention what is on your mind and what is keep on bothering you, and what is kind of having a negative impact or negative influence on you when you're thinking about it. So this is going to be like a gift, a blessing at the same time, because you are slowly going to start being redirected, but certain things are going to be pointed out at you throughout your thinking process. So this could be while you're just relaxing, chilling out. This could be while you're just maybe meditating. This could be also like at the time of grounding. This could also happen when you're like visiting the nature, when you're like by the water, by the sea, just every time when you're finding yourself a little bit of peace, you know, this is going to bring you this particular reflection. And one more thing I was going to say, my gorgeous Aries, also it is the important week to pay attention to the actual synchronicities, you know, pay attention to the actual synchronicity, because something is going to be revealed to you, in particular when it comes to the actual action. Do you see this card? It's to do with the action. So your synchronicity is going to reveal the time when you're going to be ready for the certain action, and you will know exactly what I mean at the time when that actually happens. So pay attention to the actual synchronicity, any type of synchronicity that you see, that you can find yourself being kind of attached to, attracted to. And also, you know, it could be with the numbers, it could be like a certain numbers that are repeating. It all depends how you're going to be able to feel this, to sense this and live this. So it's important just that pay attention to the actual synchronicity, because that is going to be the time. It could be 777, 222, 111, certain numbers that keep on repeating. At the same time, you know, you need to pay attention what is bothering you, what is on your mind, because there's an important answer as well along the line. But at the same time, this is going to be the time like to prepare you for the actual action that you are going to be needing to make. And the really interesting thing about this is maybe like a uncertainty around are not allowing you to go on the other side and see what's behind it. And that's why you just found yourself being kind of like maybe just tiny little bit stuck with the certain things, you know, in your life. But you will be aware of what exactly this is at that moment in time when that happens, or when that manifests, you know, this week indeed. Okay, the next sign that I'm going to be talking about is going to be my gorgeous, my ever so precious, my beautiful Taurinis, my gorgeous Taurus, my beautiful Taurinis. You know, just be as creative as you possibly can, be as active as you possibly can this week. This is just so important, like there is no tomorrow, because through your own creativity you're going to be enhance your energy. You're going to expand so much around it, so much around yourself, that is just going to be echoing and echoing and echoing in a certain way, in that particular and very powerful spiritual bubble around you. But that in itself is going to be absolutely remarkable when it comes to the certain sign that you are going to have through your own creativity, because something is going to happen, and something is going to show you the way. Something is going to really move things for you, you know, and you're going to feel like you're on top of the world. I will repeat, it doesn't really matter how you feel, my gorgeous Taurinis, this week. It doesn't matter what happened, you know. I know it's easy to say, but you know, it doesn't matter how you feel, like physically or mentally, you know. This is really important. Try to be as creative as you possibly can, even if you have like the worst hangover, even if you're like I don't know, you just don't feel right, you know. It's all about that particular spiritual knock, tuk tuk, that you will make, that you are going to make. And by doing a spiritual knock at such an important and significant time, at the same time it's going to bring you something absolutely remarkable and really wonderful, because you're projecting the energy in a certain way. It is very powerful indeed when we are as creative as possible. You know, lots of people notice, like, you know, as more as you throw yourself into the situations, into the world, you know, the more you're going to get out. But it's also super important, you know, for our own candle within, you know, for our own passion within, for our own flame within, you know, it's really important to actually give out so much. And by giving out to the actual world in such a form of being creative, we really create an absolutely remarkable, undeniable, strong and very unique and wise energy at the same time. We become like a magnet when we do this, and when we become like a magnet when we do this, it can only good can come out of it. Even if it's like doesn't feel like great, even if it doesn't feel like amazing, you know, we just start a certain process of change, which is, you know, just working with our own vibration, working with our own energy. And it's very, very rewarding, you know, in many different ways, because there are three important and very significant elements that are going to happen to you this week, my gorgeous Taurinis. Three important points that are going to happen. You know, they will be connected to the long journey, to the longer path, but most certainly all three of them are super important when it comes to reward, when it comes to an accomplishment, but also when it comes to the whole new three directions, you know. And something is also going to take place which is going to make you feel like, oh, thank God, you know. Literally like this, you know, and it's important because it's all part of your progress, and you know, it's also the time within the last 7 or 8 months, you know, you've made a certain move, you know, and the move that you've made, what made you feel a little bit uncertain because of the outcome was pretty much unknown, and it was almost impossible to know the exact outcome at the time. So there is going to be a very specific moment that it's going to connect you within the last 7 months as well, at the same time that you are going to have this week. On one hand, you know, number 7 again, ooh la la, my gorgeous Taurinis, you know, number 7, it's like, you know, very spiritual number. It's a very powerful number, and also, you know, it means that you will be guided along the way, but it also means that spiritually this will be very strong, it will be very important, and it will be very significant for you when it comes to the actual new beginning, but also a little nice refreshing element of surprise at the same time. Number 7, it's also indicating, my gorgeous Taurinis, that you are going to have like a little bit of a visit, you know, from the spirit. There is going to be the sign from the spirit that you are going to have. And then at the same time, when you have that sign from the spirit, you know, you will know that this is actually going to be an important gateway for you. You see this? When you see the sign of the spirit, it could be a little of a feather, it could be like a little knock, something could just fall on the ground, you know. It's all the pains you will be feeling. You will be able to feel this energy, but most importantly, you will know very soon after you have the spiritual sign from the other side, from a different world, you know, from a different dimension. You know, it's about your gateway, which means an important door is about to open for you, and this is very deep and it's very spiritual, and most certainly you're going to land on something very, very special when it comes to your life. So that's why the things are so pretty much beautifully connected for you, my gorgeous Taurinis. What else you need to remember, apart from being proactive as much as you possibly can, just remember it is going to be an important time when it comes to the certain judgment, and that judgment that it's going to happen, it's going to break the chain, it's going to break the karma. When I say break the karma, it's connected to the karmic situation that made you feel like a little bit negative at some moment in time, and now this week, this is the part of your process. Whatever comes to your mind and you're upset with something or someone, you know, you just need to remember it's very important time for you to let it go, because if you do this, you're just even more going to put yourself much higher where you should be, where you are meant to be, and that in itself, it's also going to start a process of a swift change when it comes to the long waiting game that it wouldn't normally happen. So whoever kind of makes you feel a little bit angry this week, or whoever kind of come back into your mind, you know, with the process of thinking, you know, and you feel a little bit angry or negative, just remember, forgive and forget, because this is a special opportunity for you. You're doing this for yourself, not for anyone else, and this way you just allow yourself to really grow. It's a very important time, a week, when it comes to your own improvement, development, and also when it comes to promotion. If you need to work and things like that, this is a great time to focus, and also great time to focus on like a next things and next stages when it comes to your particular journey. It is also an outcome, the very special outcome of the past efforts, you know, and I'm going back now 22 months earlier. Within the last 22 months, what was happening, you are going to have a very special outcome of the past efforts, something that you were waiting for, but it's going to come on a whole next level. Very good, my gorgeous Taurinis, indeed. Okay, so the next sign that I'm going to be talking about is going to be my gorgeous, my ever so precious, my beautiful, my powerful Gemini Gemini. My gorgeous Gemini, my beautiful Gemini, you do know, you do feel, you can sense me on so many different levels saying this, but you're slowly walking into a very special dimension. You're slowly walking into the very special energy. What you wanted to happen and unfold for a long time, and it didn't have any like visual, or it didn't have any feelings like it was happening. You know, things were very difficult, things were unfolding really slowly, not because of you, but because of other things that were happening, you know, and everything was affected up to the certain point. After the certain level, then you were affected with it as well. But it felt like, you know, there quite few negative things happen, but it's not enough of the positive of really good outcomes. So now, my babies, you will know exactly from the beginning of this week, you will be able to sense this, you will be able to feel that you are rolling slowly into a really powerful and important dimension. Some of you have already started with the first cycle of these beautiful changes, and what does that mean? That there was some kind of big change already started to take place. Maybe like a new job, maybe like a new work, maybe new career, maybe new dimension, maybe new house, maybe new flat, maybe somewhere else you're gonna move, or you decided, maybe you moved on, or you moved on somewhere else, somewhere new, you know, it all depends. But this is all having 2 or 3 different special cycles for you at a time when it actually happens. It all depends on you, of course, individually, but it also depends on your spiritual journeys individually. So it's all down to the actual karma and how far your spirit has evolved. But what am I saying now? It's that most certainly, when it comes to this week, you will be able to feel this different dimension. This is going to reflect on you, my gorgeous Gemini, really, really beautifully, because you're going to feel very deep. You're going to start feeling very satisfied from the beginning of the week, and that is going to reflect on your energy so nicely. And it's something that's going to feel like, ooh la la, like you're completely self-illuminated, like you are like a part of the hermit mode, but you're not actually having a hermit mode, which means that you're going to benefit from things that are making you feel really excited. You're going to benefit from things that are making you feel recharged. You're going to benefit from things that are making you feel really powerful. And as more as you do this, the more you think and the more you focus, the more powerful you're actually going to be. It's a very, very significant time when it comes to your spiritual journey, your spiritual power, and also you yourself understanding this, that, you know, something very solid is about to happen. So you are going to have a rather powerful and solid confirmation, my gorgeous Geminis, this week as well. And it's so good because you're going to recognize something. You know, you're going to be thinking, or you're going to be meditating, or you're going to be contemplating, or you're going to be like kind of grounding yourself. But at the time when you're just like a little bit separated from your physical body, if I can say like this, at the time when you allow yourself to adjust, you know, through the actual different dimensions and the different types of meditation and grounding, you know, this is the time when you are going to make a very strong connection with your subconscious mind. So you are going to have a very strong and very forward direct subconscious result. At the same time, you need to remember that you will recognize something so important. Recognize your first thought will be so significant, because at the same time you will be doubting something. The problem is going to bounce back. Of course, what a life would be with no problems. The problems are going to bounce back, and at the time when that happens, it's going to raise some kind of contemplation that it's gonna like kind of ooh la la, gonna really you will be able to sense this vibration, and you will be able to sense this energy. But also at the same time, there is going to be like a little bit of confusion. It's about the contemplation and uncertainty, what the next step is going to be for you. But it's not only about you, it's about the people around you, people in your life. You know, this is something that is just part of the really big picture, but it's down to on you to kind of recognize the certain option or a certain solution. So you are going to find yourself being like a little bit doubting yourself. But because you're going to be in such a deep stage, you just need to remember that there is a lot at the same time that is going to be quite impactful when it comes to your thinking pattern. So that's why you just need to remember that you need to remember. You need to remember that you need to remember. Yeah, did you get that, Geminini? You need to remember that you need to remember. Recognize your first thought, because your first thought is going to be the answer. Your first thought is going to be the winner. Your first thought is going to answer something absolutely remarkable to you, and your first thought is going to be the actual answer. So this is what you need to remember. On another hand, you know what? A very, very special message you will have this week, my gorgeous Geminini. Very special message indeed. And you need to remember that this message is going to be connected to somebody consistent in your life. This message is going to be connected to someone special and someone rather significant in your life, which means that you have got a special appreciative feeling towards this particular person. So there is a very special message that you are going to get from this person, and it's to do with an important news, and also at the same time you will know what to do with a certain incompletion in your life, something that you found yourself being incomplete. You will know what to do and which direction to go, but also at the same time you will know that it's an important time for the actual investment. And if you have done a certain investment into around this time, by this point, that's even better, because this is only going to be like a huge and important confirmation to you. This is just the beginning, and it's also at the same time going to help you to redirect yourself a little bit. And once you do this, you will be facing something very important, that you didn't face before. Lots of little realizations and options and opportunity that you're going to realize at the same time. On another hand, it's to do, please, it's a sacred week, my gorgeous Geminini. See what is calling you. See what needs your attention when it comes to the thinking process. It's again, you will find yourself like a really drift, quite deep and quite far. This is nothing unusual, but most importantly, something is again going to be on your mind. So follow this energy, follow the pattern, and follow the process at the same time, because you're going to need to kind of brush up on your skills. Whatever you're doing, if you're looking for work, if you have a work, if you're like retired, it doesn't really matter. An important learning process is going to come through forward, and you need to be able to catch up with this. So something that you're going to need to learn, something that you will want to learn, something that is going to be super beneficial for you, my lord. And it's only a tiny little thing, so it doesn't matter what you do, but just keep on thinking what is calling you. Keep on thinking what is like really concerning you. Keep on thinking what is attracting you, because there is an important learning process going to come through come forward, and it's to do with reflection, it's to do with the respect for knowledge, but also, and most importantly, it's going to be the new idea that it's going to come out of it, that is going to be really important at the same time. But just remember that there is a certain news that you're going to have at around the same time that is just kind of gonna open your eyes to start with and confirm certain uncertainties for you at the same time. Okay, so the next sign that I'm going to be talking about is going to be my gorgeous, my ever so precious, my beautiful, my powerful Cancerinis. My gorgeous Cancerians, my beautiful Cancerinis. Do you know what? You've got like a bit of like an unusual week, but you just need to remember that it's all about you kind of avoiding the negativity, and it's all about you making the right decisions. But the way things are gonna happen is you're gonna have a super powerful week when it comes to your own like a psychic mode, when it comes to your own third psychic eye. Things are going to be like there is no tomorrow, very important for you. So it's important to keep on following your emotions. It's important to not to kind of avoid your feelings. It's important to pay attention to all the energies around you, because you're gonna have so many signs this week. But in particular when it comes to avoiding certain people, in particular when it comes to avoiding certain conflicts, because something is going to come through forward for you, but you just need to be a little bit careful, because it's connected to somebody who Sasha doesn't like it at all. No baby, no. It's connected to somebody who's not really honest, it's connected to somebody who's going to perhaps offer something to you or try to give something to you, but it is just at the same time, I have to say that there is a very strong feeling that you're going to have that something is not right about that particular person. I'm not talking about like a family member, I'm not talking about a best friend, or I'm not talking about a friend either. I'm just talking about somebody who is not related to your life in this particular way, but it's just somebody that is just going to kind of come in and go out. But at the same time, there is a very strong sense of false energy that this person is going to have. So in order to protect yourself, just listen to your own intuition, because you are most certainly going to really see things through for what they are. But at the same time, most importantly, you will be able to avoid a certain conflict. So anyone or anything that you can feel like a little bit like this particular energy around, like a conflict or negativity, uncertainty and dishonesty, my gorgeous Cancerini, most certainly this is going to be your week of feeling very psychic indeed. On another hand, I don't want to be a dark Lala, my gorgeous Cancerini, this week, but of course, I'm just going to prepare you. I'm sorry, Dark Lala strikes again. I'm going to prepare you that there is going to be a bit of a tower moment that you're going to have. Do you know what? The tower moment is going to happen right by the end of this week, I suppose, yeah. But the last 3 weeks again, the last 3 days are going to be also quite significant when it comes to this, like a little bit of a tower moment that you're going to have. So you are going to, be thrown out of the situation a little bit purely because of the situation that is going to surprise you, and it's going to be a little bit unexpected, but at the same time it is just going to cause a little bit of like a loss of stability. This is how you're gonna feel, like it's a bit of a downfall. But no, baby, no, this is meant to happen, and it's going to be really good at the same time, because this is the heavy rain, and this, as the heavier rain is, the more powerful the sun is going to be, which means that after that moment in time, you're gonna have a quite specific and important enlightenment which is going to take place. And the fact that this is going to surprise you, it is just basically going to redirect you a little bit, and the redirection that you're going to have, it's going to be connected to you examining unfinished business. So this is actually going to be so superb, this situation. So it doesn't matter about the Dark Lala striking again, but this situation is going to be really powerful and significant for you, because it's not only going to redirect you, but also it is going to bring you some kind of unfinished business back. It's something that you've started some time ago over the last 16 months, and now within the last 16 months, so now your thoughts and your energy and your being is going to actually be directed towards this. So this is the little adjustment that you needed to have when it comes to the Asher Tower situation, and now this is going to work out really well for you at the same time. There is a very good message that you are going to have, not a message, sorry, but the actual realization. You will hear, I suppose, message, or you're gonna hear about somebody as well very close to you, their problem, something that was going on for a long time that didn't resolve itself. It's connected to like a really crazy situation that doesn't happen to so many people, but things do happen in life that are very strange and very different and very bizarre. And some people seem to have a certain energy, that is absolutely brilliant, and they just sail through like there is no tomorrow. But then some people have got so much of the certain energy attached to them that it's attracting that particular energy, and then sometimes it seems like it's very difficult, and it seems like that they're attracting like a negative energy. No, we shouldn't really say it like this, but it's a lot to do with the spiritual journey, it's a lot to do with the karma, it's a lot to do with the past life. It is a very deep subject, and it's very complex in so many different ways. So the bottom line is that you are going to hear a very good news about somebody very important to you, and that is going to be so great to you, and you're going to be so happy for this person, and you will be able to see how much this actually affected you at the same time. And look for the opportunity that you are going to have, the realization and opportunity that you are going to have. It's also going to be so great for you, and this is only going to be the part of your thinking process that is going to take place at around the end of that week, at around the midweek. This is going to just kind of become very attractive to you, because it is going to surprise you how much you actually actually feel connected to this. So it's all to do with the new beginning and the new idea that you're going to have. But this is only the beginning. And when you do this, my Lord, something is going to change, something is going to happen, and something is going to happen so much quicker and so much sooner that you could possibly imagine. So Cancerini, make the most of it, my gorgeous babies. Make the most of it. So any little idea that you have, that you're going to find it very, very interesting and attractive in so many different ways, like almost like a fan at the same time. This is also an important sign. If you start this, when you start this, you know, it is going to take a much quicker change, and things are going to start evolving and happening for you much sooner and much quicker. So important. And please try to remember, my gorgeous Cancerinis, try to drink as much as water as you can, because water is going to be superb for your balance. Water is going to be superb when it comes to boosting your immune system by flushing toxins out of the system. This is something that you're going to really benefit from. And then at the same time, just make sure that you're taking nice supplements for your bones, and to boost your immune system. For your bones, vitamin D, calcium and magnesium, and a bit of omega-3, you know, it depends, or either flaxseed oil version if you're vegetarian, or omega-3 like in the fish oil version, you know. So it's that's for your bones. And to boost your immune system would be, of course, organic acerola cherry powder with zinc and the vitamin D as well. This is also going to help you to boost your immune system. So this is something that you should do, and you're going to benefit from quite a lot. You see, it's the time to release things. Pay attention to my gorgeous Cancerinis. What no longer serves you anymore, what is making you unhappy, and what can you do about this in order to make your life much better, much happier, with much bigger meaning, you know. This is like incredible time to actually release, because when it happens, you know, at a week like this, you know, there is so much that at the same time the balance just changes almost immediately, and you get so much out of it, and this is like a reward basically. Okay. The next sign that I'm going to be talking about, it's going to be my gorgeous, my ever so precious, my beautiful, my powerful Leonis. My gorgeous Leonis, you know, it's just going to be a much busier week than you actually possibly thought. Not that long ago you started to think about a new life. Not that long you started to think about new options. Not that long ago you started to think about new possibilities, new opportunities. It was all there. Now the reason why am I saying this is that you are in a little bit of a moment of transition, of progress and of regression, which is at the same time going to do so much for you throughout this week that you will not believe how much you will actually learn this week about yourself, how much you're actually going to learn this week about things that have been happening to you over the last 12 months, in particular things that you couldn't understand. But also, most importantly, you know, there will be an absolutely remarkable moment that you're going to have of confirmation. But the way it's going to happen, the balance is going to be like ooh la la, rather vavumish in many different ways, because the first half of the week is going to seem like, oh my god, what am I doing, and this and that, have I done this right, have I done that right, no, I want to do this, I want to do that, no, things are not happening. It's a very confusing feeling that you're going to have for the first few days. But then on the last, you know, few days on this week, it's more going to be about an important synchronicity that you're going to have. And pay attention to number 7. Pay attention to number 7. Very important and very powerful. But also at the same time, when you see the synchronicity, it could be repeated numbers, it could be anything really to do with synchronicity, but you will know it's your part of your spiritual journey, it's your part of your change, of your transition, of your rebirth at the same time, of your dimension. You will know it, you will feel it. But you know what's very important is that you are going to hear a very, very powerful news. The news that you're going to hear is just going to literally set you free. When I say set you free, this is the time that it's going to be like, oh my god, when you're going to start feeling very optimistic. And when I say set you free, you will see how much you were kind of worrying and what negative thoughts have been risen, you know, the negative thoughts that you had about a certain situation. And perhaps, you know, sometimes your power of your mind and the power of your thinking, it's very important to because it's strong. It's what you think, you project. Leon Leonis, my gorgeous babies, you are very strong and very powerful. In particular, you don't need to say anything, just like Scorpioni, you know, you don't need to say much, but the way you're projecting things, it's really important for you to understand that if you feel like really low and really tired and really drained, you know, people will be able to notice this because your energy is so strong. And this is the same when it comes to your thinking process, when it comes to the power of your mind. You know, it's the same thing. If you think very optimistically, you're gonna be absolutely fine. If you think in a negative way, then you're gonna bring yourself down. So this is the moment that you will realize it around the midweek, you know, that maybe you were just, I'm not saying, you know, I'm not blaming you or anything, but you will see that it's just so important to think optimistically, because after this moment in time, a lot is gonna start changing for you. So it's important just to keep a smile on your face and have your eyes open, because there is not only going to be the superb life-changing message and realization that you are going to have, but you are just going to have 4 different elements, 4 different points, 4 different situations that are just going to take over your life, because these 4 things are going to be super powerful and super relevant for you, proving yourself, for you reaching an important honor, for you having an important accomplishment. But most importantly, when you had uncertainties about a really big move that you are going to have later on, this is all going to bring you an absolutely remarkable confirmation. This is the time of the actual swift activity and, you know, an important progress. And this is the sudden progress that I'm talking about from the midweek onwards. You know, it's to do with the movement, it's to do with the speed, and it's also to do with an important decision that you're going to be able to make, you know, and this is most certainly to do with your own advancement. And that's why this is so significant when it comes to your life, my gorgeous Leonis, indeed, you know. What else I was going to say is just to do with the actual, I can see that there's going to be an important moment in time that you're going to have when it comes to making and starting like some kind of a ritual. Very important, you know, so which means that the actual connection in between you and in between things that you do and in between things that you focus on in a sense of like wanting something, wanting to make a connection, my lord, this week it's like your sacred gift, like an important sacred gift that you're going to have at the same time. And when it comes to the power of projection, so even if you like kind of lie down in the nature, like next to the water, and you're like meditating, try to contemplate and try to ask the certain questions, and you will be getting the answers. But also on another hand, when it comes to the projection, you know, you can just kind of like relax yourself and just see what you feel attracted to, what you feel attached to. You know, there is a lot going to be in such a sense of making things happen by actually projecting them in the right way. So this is why the rituals are going to be super beneficial for you. You can take a little candle, my gorgeous Leonis, just light the candle, write something on in specific, and just ask the universe, ask the God, you know, ask your angels, ask your spirit guides, you know, connect to whatever you feel like you should connect to. But most certainly you will be able to make this happen so much sooner and so much earlier than it would normally would. And this is why the ritual is going to be so significant for you. On another hand, you know, wherever you are, whatever you do, another thing when it comes to the ritual and things like that, connection, people connecting together, people gathering together, anywhere where you find yourself in an element, like, you know, you're at home and you're like seeing something on television, see there is going to be the hidden little message for you. Whatever ritual you kind of find yourself around, even if you see it on television, even if you're walking outside and someone is having a ritual, even if you're walking outside and you're thinking about a certain ritual, you know, it's just something comes to your mind, something becomes the part of your dimension. Just pay attention to it, because there is going to be the hidden message for you over there somewhere, and you will know exactly what I mean, my gorgeous Leonis, indeed. So now I'm just gonna see what is your oracle. You see, it's to do with your power. This is so important. This week it's all about your power, and you will find yourself being very courageous, and you're gonna find yourself being very optimistic, but also at the same time you're gonna find yourself like wanting to learn different things and being very adventurous at the same time, being daring at the same time. And this is even more important to say, every time when you feel daring, my gorgeous Leonis, just go for it, go for it, go for it, because every daring situation is going to have a special gift for you at the same time. Okay, so now the next sign that I'm going to be talking about is going to be my gorgeous, my ever so precious, my beautiful, my powerful Virgolini. My gorgeous Virgolinis, this is your time. This is going to be your moment. This week you're going to have your moment. In the last maybe few weeks, things have been like a little bit unusual. Things have been like a little bit strange, in particular when it comes to your own connection and reconnection with yourself. But I am talking about the spiritual level. I am talking about your personal flame. I am talking about things that are deep within. It created like a uncertainty, when it comes to your own path. Not necessarily that you don't want to do it, that you don't want to do what you do, that you don't feel happy, but it was just kind of all created like a lot, maybe 2 or 3 moments that made you like a little bit confused. And this happens when you're also going through transition, an important transition that is trying to let you know that you are about to reach a very special moment and very special point in your life, which is going to be connected to the ridiculously powerful, huge, massive, enormous change. The change that you will make, the change that you will do, it's going to be absolutely ludicrous how important this is going to be. And June and July, June and July 2021 are going to be super significant and super important when it comes to this change. So this is how deep this month is going to be. This is how deep this week in itself is going to be, because there are confirmations that you are going to have at the same time. And from those moments in time when you felt like uncertain over the last few weeks, this is so important, because it helped you in a way kind of to not to pay attention to other things around you. And that in itself was such a wonderful gift and blessings, because sometimes when we are focusing too much, when we are paying attention too much, when we project our energy too intensely towards things, then we block them. I know it sounds crazy, but it all depends on the well-balanced energies. So if we are focusing on something like too intensely, then at the same time, we may be kind of making our process and progress a little bit longer, because all we want to do is to avoid the too much energy of too much intention, because very often that energy becomes not depressing but desperate. I'm not saying you were desperate, please don't get me wrong, but it's about focusing too much, and then that energy is similar to the actual depressing energy, like when you want to make something or you want to do something, but you're not allowing other things to sacredly flow because you're focusing too much, and that affects your progress. Because in particular when it comes to planning and decision making, and also even more important when it comes to the quickness and fastness and a swift change, it's all kind of on hold until you reach this sacred moment in time. Because there are 3 things in particular that you are going to learn, there are 3 things that in particular that you are going to change, and there are 3 things in particular that are going to be absolutely mind-blowing this week, my gorgeous Virgolinis, when it comes to that particular change. And when it comes to things that have been unfolding in your life for the last few weeks, it is all going to balance itself out now, because now your energy is about to start floating freely. Now your energy is about to start floating really nicely again, and that in itself is going to be remarkable, because it's going to really not only bring you these 3 crazy amazing amazing realizations, and these 3 realizations are also connected to uncertainties from before. Over the last 24 months, the uncertainties that are later on going to become pretty obvious here. It is the enlightenment that you're going through, my gorgeous Virgolinis, and because this is your time now, your time of the year, this is also going to really rejuvenate your energy, and it's bringing you an important opportunity at the same time. But that opportunity that you are going to have, it's most certainly going to be connected to the certain advancement, when it comes to your situation now, to the certain approach at the same time. Very attractive in many different ways, but most certainly it's going to be connected to the request and challenge. Every time when you feel challenged, my gorgeous Virgolinis, this is the time when you should just throw yourself in. Jump in the water. If you don't jump in the water, you will never learn how to swim. I'm keep on saying this, but it's going to be more important than ever. And you should also pay attention to the actual synchronicity. The paying attention to the synchronicity, whether this is going to be the numbers repeating or anything else that is meant to be part of your spiritual journey, it's also going to show you some kind of new plan. New plan is going to be shown at the same time. The time, not that new plan is going to be shown, but the new, before you focus and before you ground yourself, before you meditate, within yourself, this is the time of a very special and sacred illumination, and it's the time when the certain new plan is also going to be shown to you, my gorgeous Virgolini. So this is very, very important indeed. Pay attention to your body. Pay attention to your body, my gorgeous Virgolinis, because your body is also going to direct you and redirect you when you least expect it. This week, my gorgeous Virgolinis, you will have a special energy, around you, about you. You're going to be even more psychic, but most certainly connection with your body will be very strong. So pay attention to what your body is trying to tell you. This is important, okay? On another hand, my gorgeous Virgolinis, you know what? It is the time of the power that you're going to feel this week, because you're going to get an important news when it comes to your own accomplishment and the whole beautiful feeling of like such a great self-esteem, it's going to take over, but in the best possible way, because it's about the reward, it's about the uncertainty, and it's about the certain fears as well that you might have had, over the last few months as well, the certain negativity, that blocked you kind of a little bit. It blocked your way of thinking, it blocked your energy a little bit, but this is nothing to do with you or your personal progress. It's to do with lots of other things that are happening at around the same time around the world. So it's nothing that you can do too much about it, but just stay optimistic and stay positive, because this is the only thing that you can do, and most certainly is the way out of the situations that can affect you, but they don't really need to affect you. But the bottom line is, you're going to have an accomplishment, an important accomplishment, and this is going to bring you such a strong confidence. I really like it, and that in itself is going to be brilliant, because it's just going to be very influential in many different ways. You're going to learn something about yourself at the same time, and that is going to bring you an important idea, but it's more about the actual stability that is at the same time going to make you realize, like, ooh la la, accept life's challenges. Any challenge that you have, my gorgeous Virgolinis, you're going to find yourself, like, if that happened like about 2 or 3 weeks ago, you'll be like, no baby, no. But now the part of the different dimension, now the part of the different energy, now the complete part of the completely different element is just also, on another hand, it's already preparing you for this. So it's all about the creativity. It's accept life's challenges. It's important because it's all about the creativity and an important beginning, an important beginning when it comes to the actual gain, an important beginning when it comes to the actual very, very meaningful experience, very meaningful experience that you are going to have. It's going to be strange. It's going to be bizarre. It's going to be unusual. It's almost going to feel like you're in touch with somebody from a different planet, somebody from a different world, somebody from a different dimension, and most certainly it is going to be. And that in itself is going to be remarkable, because it's to do with the meaningful experience that you are going to have, that is just going to happen at the right moment and the right time, and most certainly it's going to help you to make a decision when it comes to the actual start of something very important, and with a quite strong strong outlook that you're going to feel at the same time. It's a very adventurous feeling you're actually going to have, indeed. Okay, and very important adventure, my gorgeous Virgolinis. Okay, let me just see this. Okay, action, absolutely time for action, you know. This is the time for action, and it's time to do things, and no matter what anyone tells you, you know, or like no matter like what false feelings you can have. I say false feelings, it's like maybe somebody else who's not meaning that well and things like that, not necessarily connected to you, is trying to make you think, make you feel how you should feel, like especially if they're doing it like in such a way when you should feel low and it's draining your energy. You just move away. You need to move away from this person, move away from these thoughts, move away from this energy. You need to remember it's all about yourself. The balance is going to be absolutely right. I say it's all about yourself. When it comes to your feelings, when it comes to your emotions, you need to listen to your body, you need to listen to your spirit, you need to connect and reconnect as much as you possibly can, because there is going to be a mind-blowing realization that you're going to have as well when you're like kind of meditating, when you're grounding yourself, maybe perhaps when you're visiting forest and things like that. When you reach that very important part of yourself reconnected, you know, there is going to be quite significant message, but also the message is going to be connected to you needing to make an action. Okay, it's time. There are two things in particular, something from before, an ongoing old problem. You need to make an action, and there is also going to be the new thing that is going to come up by the end of this week, my gorgeous Virgolinis, and the answer to that is don't wait too long, my babies. You need to go for it. It's very important, my gorgeous Virgolinis, indeed. Okay, so now the next sign that I'm going to be talking about is going to be my gorgeous, my ever so precious, my beautiful, my powerful Libra. My gorgeous Libra, you know what? It is just basically somebody is going to play an important role in your life this week, you know. Somebody is going to be such a strong part of your energy and your motivation. It's about the influence that you're going to have, an influence that you're going to feel, and it's going to happen at the right moment, at the right time. This is very important because that influence, it's also going to motivate you, and it's going to open your eyes. Not immediately when that happens, but it's just few days later, there is going to be a remarkable idea that you are going to have to this person. So somebody in particular, my gorgeous Libra, it's actually going to play an important role in your life this week. So much so that there are pretty quite a few changes that you will be making later on because of that. But it's to do with the right person, it's to do with the right opportunities, to do with the right influence and right energy that it's going to feel absolutely right to you. At the same time, you know, at around the midweek, towards the end of the week, you will be really having a bit of a doubt. You know, there is a problem that you will be facing, and the balance is going to be just right. But what is this going to do in itself? It's going to confirm like a certain doubt. You know, there is going to be the doubt that you are going to have, and all I want to say to you, it's very important that you actually make a decision, you know, if you possibly can. This is not something that just happened overnight. This is not something that happened like a few days ago, but you will realize that it's just really starting to drain your energy, and if you don't make a move or if you don't change it, you know, it is just going to keep on draining your energy. And now at this moment it's becoming completely unnecessary, because it's draining your energy to the point where you're gonna realize how much, but it's draining your energy to the point that you're like kind of feeling like you're frequently too restrained. And once you kind of pay attention to this and make an important choice, and this is to do with the change, adjustment, and cutting something out of your life, at the same time moving on from the situation that no longer serve you. It's important because it is just going to be connected to the swift change that you are going to have at the end of the week, which is going to happen at around the time when you hear a positive message, something that you've been waiting for, but then something that's going to come with a huge, massive element of surprise that, at the same time, it's going to redirect you, so you will be paying attention to things that you almost forgot, kind of, because a lot was happening and a lot wasn't happening. At the same time, that creates the certain energy, it creates the certain path that, makes us to be directed towards certain things. And once we do this, we kind of like don't pay attention to other things around. So very often we find ourselves maybe like putting energy towards certain things that we shouldn't, instead of like really focusing on what needs the most energy at the right moment this time. And this is the kind of situation that you're actually going to have. On another hand, you know what? It is very important for me to say that you are the one who is going to need to be analytical this week. You need to be analytical. But when it's required from you to be analytical, this is the time when I don't want you to really hurry into it. You do not need to rush or anything like that. If it's to do with analytics or you being analytical, this is the time when you just need to at least take one step away and at least kind of spend the night or evening away from this. And that way, there is the whole new world that you're going to come up with by the time you wake up in the morning, because it's a very strong connection of the hermit energy and hermit feeling throughout the week that you are going to also have, but without having the hermit moment, which means that you will be able to benefit from your dreams. You will be able to benefit from like realizing what is the very first thing on your mind every single morning, but also you will be benefiting from lots of self-illumination around you, which means that there are going to be lots of little signs and synchronicities for you as well that you should be paying attention to. What else I was going to say, an important an important wise investment, and this is the time for an absolutely important wise investment. On one hand, if you're looking to invest, if you're looking to negotiate, this is going to be very victorious time for you. If you're looking to sign something new and something like that you're expecting an outcome, this is going to be a remarkable time for you. But also on another hand, just remember that this goes two ways, my babies. Double whammy, which means that if you actually allow yourself to think in this particular way, and while you're contemplating and meditating, you can also you don't need to necessarily meditate, but you can meditate and contemplate. You can chill out and relax and a little bit meditate and contemplate, or you can just think a little bit. What am I trying to say is that you will be able to kind of like get your mind, subconscious mind, to take over very easily. And this is purely to do with the fact that it's such a strong and powerful hermit moment at the same time. And that in itself, it's also going to make you realize something is going to come to you. Like, what would you need to do when it comes to, in terms of like maybe investments, in terms of like the new beginning, in terms of like what you should be paying attention to. So you can use this sacred energy in two ways. So one, the wise investment or something is going to happen this week, however, but on another hand, you can think and then it's going to come to you. It may not come to you straight away, but it could come like while you're sleeping, or it could come like the very first thing in the morning as well at the same time. On another hand, what else I was going to say, it is very important time when it comes to self-illumination and the new direction which is actually going to be revealed to you. But also, it's something is slowly coming to an end, and I'm so happy for this, because you were in self-denial for so long, my gorgeous Libra, and you will know what this is. Something just came to an end that you were like in kind of like a self-denial for so long, and this affected you. It affected you being centered, it affected you when it comes to your proactivity, because it was affecting your energy. So they started draining your energy to the point where you realize, it's really time to move on now. It's really time to move on. So see what is in self-denial that you are about, and that it's almost immediately going to, as soon as you realize this, just pay attention to what is going to happen over the next 32 days. In 32 days after that are going to be very interesting. But on the 32nd and the 33rd day, as as soon as you realize what you're in self-denial about, there is going to be a powerful and very important reward that you are going to have in a form of a good message and an opportunity as well. You see how everything is linked and everything is just so important, like there is no tomorrow, my gorgeous Libra. And now look, it's the time to take action. This is the time to take action and also observe your conversations. I know this sounds really weird, but when you observe your conversations, you're gonna learn something new about yourself, this week. And what you're gonna learn is just going to be like the missing puzzle at the same time. It's connected to something new, it's connected to the new spirit, it's connected to the new beginning, it's connected to the new level, and it's also connected to you being very clever, very smart, and very intelligent, and very well balanced at some moment in the past, and now you're having a reward from this as well. Very important time when it comes to the justice as well, which means when you hear about a certain justice this week, my gorgeous Libra, at the same time there is going to be some kind of special advice that it's going to manifest around you, but you're not going to be told this directly. It is just as soon as you hear about a certain justice, and this is on a big scale, this is on a massive scale, this is on a big level indeed. At the same time, there will be a quite interesting and very powerful advice that you are going to have at the same time, my gorgeous Libras. Indeed. Okay, so now the next sign that I'm going to be talking about is going to be my gorgeous, my ever so precious, my beautiful, my powerful Scorpione. My gorgeous Scorpio, my beautiful Scorpione. Most certainly this is the time to actually really do as much as you can. You will surprise yourself this week, and in the first 3 days, things are gonna feel a little bit different, things are gonna feel a little bit strange, but in a very good sense indeed. You're gonna start feeling like the energy is back. You're gonna start feeling like the energy is really powerful, but at the same time this is going to activate you, and it's also going to start creating a new perspective in your mind, new perspective in your vibration, which is gonna be so strong and so powerful that by the end of that week you're gonna have the whole new thing going, my gorgeous Scorpione. But this is so much so to do with what you wanted to do in a little while, what you wanted to do in a long time. It's not like only something that is just gonna come out straight away, but it's just that you are going to feel like, oh God, oh my Lord, I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this action. I'm ready for this change. It's almost like the negative energy that was preventing you to move on, my gorgeous Scorpione, is just gonna go now. It's going to literally go and disappear, and that negative energy that was around you for a while, you're not the only sign. The negative energy happens to us when we are kind of keep on blocking ourselves from moving on and from going forward, and we create this by thinking negatively, and we think negatively without even realizing what happens later then is that negative energy is also the main factor in us not moving on with our lives, because we block certain passages, and that actually shouldn't be blocked in our energy, in our dimension. And what does that in return? What it does, it actually prevents us to kind of move on towards the future planning, because subconsciously we are unable to connect because of all these uncertainties. Now this is the time when things are going to start shifting, and this is an important stage for you, my gorgeous Scorpione. And I did mention this in your monthly reading, because as from the September onwards, now things are going to start becoming really intense, in particular when it comes to you, my gorgeous Scorpiones, indeed, because most certainly is the time to come out and play. It's important, my gorgeous Scorpiones, because you need to throw yourself into as many possibilities as you can, and you are well going to find yourself this week doing something that you really enjoy. You're going to find yourself doing something that is going to surprise you, that you actually enjoy it so much. And this is all part of this change. This is all part of this energy and negativity that is actually going to be shifted in your life. Just remember that you will have quite important news as well at the same time, and that news is going to point you towards the direction, and it's going to be positive and optimistic when it comes to the investment, when it comes to the new beginning, but also also, my babies, when it comes to the actual certain trust. Certain trust is going to be very important to you, and it's also going to make things more solid, and it's going to open your eyes, and it's all to do with your power, accomplishment, and proactivity at the same time. You also need to remember to pay attention to the actual synchronicity. My Lord, this week is so important when it comes to the actual synchronicity, because when you see the synchronicity, you're going to need to pay attention. There is going to be the return of like a something that you should have done, something that you should have carried on in your past and within the last 11 months. You know, the synchronicity, it's going to allow you to connect yourself on a deeper and spiritual level. But that's not all. It's more about being active and project this energy towards this. So it could even happen to you when you sleep, you dream, you just pay attention, you will know what to pay attention to. But even more importantly, this Scorpionis, even this, more importantly, every single morning when you wake up, this is the gift that you will have. Sometimes people don't understand how powerful we are at this stage, at this moment in time. When we wake up in the morning, we open our eyes, we are part of all sorts of dimensions. You know, we're a bit like, oh God, I'm not too sure, you know, but it's just like basically it's all about having a very strong connection while we are sleeping. But because while we are sleeping, the rest of our brain is working, because when we are conscious, only the certain part of our brain is working, only the certain tiny little percentage. If the whole part was working, you know, if we didn't take as much fluoride in the water and things like that, if the whole part of the brain was actually working, we would be able to do and achieve so much, my Lord. So this is why while we are sleeping, while we are meditating, while we are grounding ourselves, you know, our subconscious mind takes over, and we are able to do so much. We travel everywhere into multiple dimensions, doing completely different things, like, my Lord, like there is no tomorrow. So the first few minutes when we wake up in the morning, it's not only like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. No, baby, no. It's to pay attention to what is on your mind, what is connecting to you, what is like kind of keep on repeating to you, what is the first thing, or maybe I should talk to that person, I didn't talk to that person for years, you know. So it's the spirits are trying to let you know that that person is important. Or it's like, oh, maybe, oh, I feel like I want to go to that forest or something. You see, the spirits are letting you know to go to that forest, because if you follow this path, if you follow this journey, there is something absolutely mind-blowing going to happen to you along the way. This is why it's important to pay attention throughout the whole week, my gorgeous Scorpioni, and see what is on your mind. It's going to be important, and it's to do with who you are, and it's also to do with the passion that you must not ignore, my Scorpioni, indeed. Oh, do you know, it's to do with the new plan. It's to do with an important wish that you are going to also have, and it's to do with you trying to attempt this over the last 7 months as well. So now you will be able to do this because something is going to happen, and it's going to give you an important hope. It's to do with the confidence, but it's also to do with uncertain efforts that I was saying before. But now you're just going to feel like, yeah, baby, just go for it, my gorgeous Scorpion, it's time. On another hand, it's important to say that somebody in your life is going to have a very good news. Maybe you were worrying about someone, like a figure, certain important figure in your life. It's going to have a very good news, but this is to do with you worrying, feelings, emotions, and this is going to mean to you so much at the same time. But also an important motivation behind someone very successful, you know. It's going to come through, it's going to come forward. There will be one day in particular when you're going to feel very centered indeed, Scorpione. And this is the day that it's also important when it comes to you actually realizing that there is someone who's going to be part of your mind, and someone who is motivating you and motivating you and motivating you. So through this motivation you will, oh gosh, you see, little kitty wants to say hello. Somebody's motivating you. These are my hands, and it's important to say that that motivation, it's also something that's going to be confirmed through this motivation, but it's, you know, it's also going to be like some kind of like a path revelation that is going to be quite important at the same time, my gorgeous Scorpione. You see, release. It is time to release. This is a powerful time to release. So the more you release this week, and especially if someone comes to you in your mind, someone is going to make you feel like a little bit angry, you know, there is still karmically a bit of a catch up that you're gonna need to do, which means karmically it's important. If someone comes to your mind and it kind of pisses you off a little bit, or if someone comes to your mind and makes you angry, like John, George, Maria, or Jane, or Samantha, or Lorraine, or, you know, like whoever comes, Michael, you know, like Robert, you know, like Joshua, you know, Samuel, you know, whoever comes to your mind and you're still like a little bit unhappy with them because of the certain progress and process didn't come to an end, so it's still a little bit of negativity and negative energy attached to it, please just release and forget. It's not about what happened as such, but it's about you releasing yourself. This is very important, and this could happen in a second way as well, in a different way, by if you come across someone this week and they do kind of make you feel a little bit negative, a little bit uneasy, uncertain, and that creates a little bit of anger. It's just so important for you to just go with the flow, with this wonderful balance. You know, just remember, this is to do with you releasing yourself, but allowing your spirit to go on the higher level at the same time. You see, leadership, this is nothing unusual. This card comes, a leadership. So it's on you, about you to be leader with yourself, within yourself, and not to allow anything to kind of mess with your energy at the same time. Look, that comes straight away. You see, it's a leadership. A very important week when it comes to the actual leadership, my gorgeous Scorpiones, indeed. Just remember, focus. Okay, something is going to be required from you, and it's going to be pretty much so needed that you need to do this week, my gorgeous Scorpion, and you're going to like it. You're not going to like it so much, but it's important to remain focused. This is going to keep your balance, and it's also going to keep you on the right path, keep you on the right journey, because later on the whole new perspective is going to come forward. Stay committed to the task at hand. Important indeed. Okay. La 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 la. Pam pararam pam 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 pararam pam 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 pararam 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 la 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 la. My next reading is going to be my gorgeous, my ever so precious, my beautiful Sagittarini. My gorgeous Sagittarius, you know, it is just like it's going to be half and a half this week indeed. Somebody is going to try to have a little conflict with you, but please, my babies, your job this week in particular is rise above the situation. What you must not do is just go low and go down and throw yourself into that negativity. No, baby, no. Your job is this week to just rise above this negativity, and that in itself, it's also going to provide you with a really important transformational moment 2 or 3 days later. So wherever you see that somebody tries to have a conflict, which is it could be a person who you know, it could be a person who you don't know, it could be the person who you meet for the first time, just remember, baby, no, I'm going to rise above it, and 2 or 3 days later there is going to be an important transformational moment that you're going to have, because this is karmically very strong stage, and you're going through this particular vibration that you're going through, and that transformation is going to be connected to the actual very, very swift change, most certainly when you least expect it, at the same time when you get an important message about a certain accomplishment. So I know it sounds weird, it sounds bizarre, but if somebody is trying to have a little bit of a conflict with you, it's like a bit of a hidden little gem for you, hidden little blessing for you, because you will know that this is your little spiritual key, which is you do well, you know, you unlock the spiritual door, and then you just make the certain process faster. And this is how this works. This is how karma works, and how karma works when it comes to your spiritual journey, and in particular when it comes to speeding things up. Because if you would go like a wrong route, if you would go low, if you would argue and things like that, then you're just going to prolong yourself. So you can just prolong your journey prolongs your reality. So that's why you just have to think about it from a completely different angle. You're helping yourself, and you're also working along this particular energy when it comes to your spiritual journey. So you're just making things happen and allowing your spirit to evolve where it should evolve. It's important because it's going to jump like 3 or 4 points higher after this moment in time. The reason why things are unfolding like this for you as well, it's purely because we're in September now. And now we are slowly going towards the end of this year, 2020. So things are most certainly going to become a little bit intense, in particular when it comes to the certain stages that have been quite slow in our lives. So now this is yet again going to provide us with this opportunity to carry on. It doesn't matter necessarily what's happening around. It doesn't matter necessarily what's happening around the world. It doesn't matter necessarily if we think like, oh no, we can't do anything. No, baby, no. You just think about yourself, you think about your own spirituality, you think about your own spiritual bubble. This is exactly what you do. You create a little spiritual bubble for yourself, and you're happy and you're safe inside it, and you just keep going and keep going and keep going. And while there are lots of negativities happening in the world, this is the way we beat things. This is the way we all win like normal people, by ignoring the negativity and lots of negative, beings out there trying to like kind of mess processes up, normal processes in life, but this is the way you actually do. This is what you actually do. On another hand, my gorgeous Sagittarini, a very important opportunity, it's going to arise. And this is quite significant because this opportunity, it's going to happen at around the time when something is going to be repeating, and you're going to think like, oh my God, first of all, something is going to happen. You're going to find this really weird. You're going to find this really strange, like, oh my God moment. And then you will know, not that long after, there is going to be quite interesting opportunity that you're going to have, which is going to surprise you a little bit. But then at the same time, throughout this synchronicity, you will know that you are ready to actually go for it. It's very important because it's going to be connected to the certain challenging information. And this is the feeling and vibration that you're going to feel. But most certainly it's to do with your own personal transformation, and this is why this is going to be such an important moment in time for you as well. You need to understand that this is also an absolutely superb week when it comes to the actual challenges, but also when it comes to you accepting life's challenges, because it is just one particular challenge. It is not going to manifest itself like right from that moment, right from the morning or last week. There is a particular challenge that is going to bounce back also in a form of something that you started in the past, but you've just kind of brushed it off and you didn't realize how important this is. And now this is also connected to the certain loyalty, or someone being loyal to you at the same time when it comes to this. So this is all going to be making sense, and somebody very loyal to you, somebody very important in your life. Sagittarian, this is so important. Somebody very loyal to you, somebody very important in your life. It's going to have such a mind-blowing message for you. It's not so much about the message, but it's a lot about what you're going to realize out of that message. What are you going to gain out of that message? There are 3 huge, massive things that are going to start changing slowly, because it's more like about the idea, confirmation, and 3 important points, 3 important stages. This is somebody very special and very particular in your life, somebody who's meant to be the part of your spiritual journey that is going to surprise you a little bit, but in the best possible way. Maybe it could be like a text message, maybe it could be like a little email, maybe they will just phone you, maybe they will send you a message on a social network, maybe they will knock on your door. It really depends. However, half of your problems are going to be answered, with this, through this. Half of your problems, or at least it's how it's actually going to feel at the same time, my gorgeous Sagittarianis. This is important. Also, you are going to have a feeling like and this is very important not to ignore, the feeling of wanting to learn. And this is very important not to ignore, because sometimes, we get this little gift, when it comes to the certain week, when it comes to the certain months, but also at the same time, it can be so tiny that we may not even notice how significant it is. Okay, so it's the tiny learning experience that is going to manifest, that is going to happen, but it's going to require from you to reach this particular level of self-illumination and enlightenment, which you are going to, and then you're going to realize this. But sometimes where a lot is happening in our lives, we're not able to see how important this is. So the answer to that would be to make sure that you do the right thing. It's just basically anything that comes to you that you feel like, oh, I really want to learn about it, I want to do something about it. Just go for it, my lord. Don't wait for any other week, because this week the balance is going to be absolutely perfect. The balance is going to be absolutely right to actually go with this vibrational flow. At the same time, it's like the energy of the new moon, and the energy of the new moon is very important and very particular and very significant, in particular when it comes to starting the new things, in particular when it comes to the new beginnings, because you go with the beginning of the month, when there is no moon, and then as the time goes by, the moon is changing and growing. As the moon is changing and growing, your energy is changing and growing, and your direction and your manifestation is growing and changing in the best possible way, and it's going towards the right direction. And this is why it's important to any kind of learning influence that you have, any learning energy, any learning impact that you can feel this week. Just please do it. Even if you're like working like a waiter, let's say you're working like a waiter, and then you just like suddenly you find yourself, oh God, you're thinking about, what the assistant manager position could be like, don't ignore it, go for it, try to find out. Or if you're working like a painter, and then you're painting, like painting a picture, an artist, and suddenly you think, I've always been painting eyes, I've always been painting lips, how about if I start to paint houses? Go for it, don't ignore it. Or for example, if you're like I don't know, if you're working maybe I don't know, like in the kitchen, you're doing work in the kitchen, you're like a cooking, you're cooking, and then suddenly, you this is your job, this is what you do, and then suddenly it just comes to you like, oh my God, I've always, and you've done it maybe all in hotels, and then it comes to you, maybe I should be doing like maybe cooking in a different environment, in different restaurants, and things like that. Don't ignore it, my babies, don't ignore it. What you need to do is pay attention to this energy, because this energy is just going to be really the beginning of something mind-blowing at the same time. So you have to use this as a gift, you have to use this as a blessing, and it only comes in a tiny little situation, tiny little realization that is going to make you wonder. It's connected to this wonder energy. Just go for it, and go for it. If you're like, you don't have a job and you're looking for work, for example, and then you're like, I've been looking for work, like to work in the office, office manager, and then suddenly it comes to you a certain job, like it's shown to you, and it's just, this is to do with like I don't know, selling something, selling houses, and it's like, maybe I should be selling houses, Don't ignore this feeling, because this is what this week is going to bring you, Sagittarini. Use it to the best way, using in the best way possible. It's just so important. And also on another hand, because this is a great week when it comes to the actual society, this is the great week when it comes to the actual harmony, this is also the great week when it comes to peace, believe me or not, and also when it comes to tranquility, but in particular when it comes to the fruits of labor. And this is going to put your mind in a certain way, in a certain position, in a certain energy, but also the fact that this is the time when you can rest after strife, it's important, because it's also going to mark the beginning of a very, very important union, or reunion, if I can possibly say. Somebody who's very important in your life, it's also going to require significant news for you. Something is to do, part of this news is to do with you, because it's going to make you feel really happy, but on another hand it's to do with them and doing something really great and coming out of the negative situation in the best possible way without hurting themselves too much. And that in itself is also going to be remarkable, Sagittarinis, indeed. On another hand, you're going to have a moment like, oh la Lord, thank God, it is to do with the temperance, it's to do with the patience, so what you were patient about, you're going to hear a very good news. And also the 22nd of February 2021, 22nd of February 2021, I'm sorry I've jumped so far, but when I see such important messages, I have to say it, my gorgeous Sagittarini. So the 22nd of February 2021, it's also going to be directly connected to what you had patience about. Like, let me just explain again. You will have a reward this week, and it's in particular when it comes to the actual patience, in particular when it comes to over the last 12 months, so this is going to be really nice time of reward, but also it's going to be very important when it comes to your own flexibility at the same time. But also on another hand, the 22nd of February 2021, it's going to be very directly connected to everything that's happening this week. Something very big is going to take place, and it's going to have a few different stages. And just remember how the 22nd of February is actually going to unfold. Very important, because it's coming from the time when you are making the right decisions, and you're also pointing yourself towards the direction where you can kind of go on without feeling too restricted. And this means that karmically you will be doing the right things. It's very important to say that this week you're also going to have an important management moment when it comes to the adjustment, and also at the same time good influence. Good influence, somebody is going to influence you so beautifully, and at the same time there is an omen that you're going to have, an omen and sign that you're going to have, my gorgeous Sagittarini. It's going to be like a little bit of a bird or a cat or a dog. It's to do with a little animal, but then that animal, it's also going to be very important, because you will know that you're going to be prepared to the moment where you're going to feel a little bit wind up, and you just need to remember to let go of resentment, any resentment. So this is what your sign is going to be. This is what your message is going to be. This is what the meaning is going to be when you see that little animal. It's just so important. It's going to prepare you for the moment, because you will know very soon after that there is going to be a significant opportunity that you are going to have. But before that happens, you need to let go of resentment, and you will see exactly what I mean. Okay, so now the next sign that I'm going to be talking about, it's going to be my gorgeous, my ever so precious, my beautiful, my powerful Capricornius. Capricornius, pam, 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 pam. Capricornius, tan, 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 tan. Capricornius, pam, 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 pam. My gorgeous Capricornius, you know what? It's like you have to be careful of a little bastard. You've got a little bastard here, and the little bastard, I have to say, it's just somebody who, you will be aware of this person, and it's somebody who's using people, somebody who's really horrible, somebody who hasn't got a soul or a spirit, there is something really terribly wrong with people like this. But you're gonna come across this person. It could be either it's going to be like physically, or either you're gonna see that person somewhere and you will know this, either you're gonna be thinking about them, either somebody's going to approach you, and these are going to be the feelings. Something is gonna feel off, something is going to feel unusual, something is going to feel strange. And I'm telling you, just listen to yourself, because your subconscious mind is going to be mental this week. When I say your subconscious mind is going to be mental this week, which means it's going to be very powerful, very strong, very significant. It's most certainly going to take over. And once that happens, you just don't need to think too much. You don't think too much like, oh my God, it's so difficult to explain. Like throughout the week, what comes to you first? Capricornius, listen. I just make everything so difficult, isn't it? But throughout the week, whatever comes to you, okay, this is how you benefit from this situation. This is what you do. Throughout the week, whatever it comes to you, you don't think too much. Don't go like your deep thinking mode, because you're a thinker. You're very deep. Your mind can stretch like into all sorts of dimensions, like, oh my Lord, we know this. But now it's important not to torture yourself. So throughout this week, whatever comes to you, whichever first thought comes to you, just remember what I said. Remember what Sashita said. Just remember the first thought that comes to you, you just go by it. Don't go the second, the third, the fourth, because that is going to take you somewhere completely different. I'm not saying it's not going to be relevant. I'm not saying it's going to be irrelevant when you overthink, but it's not normally good to overthink. But in particular, when you're so highly psychic and highly spiritual, your third psychic card is going to be like, hello, my darling. You know, it's going to be literally like that. Again, I say hello, my darling, when it's always like very strong and very powerful. So you just should take benefits from this, of this, like there is no tomorrow. It's nothing unusual to have such a powerful week. It's purely because when it comes to your spirituality and psychic feelings and all these things, it's because it's September now, slowly, and we are moving towards the end of the year. Now, as the time goes by, the most intense and the most significant time is going to be, in particular when it comes to you, and in particular when it comes to the kind of slow progress and process that was affected down on the line. You will have a swift change at around the time when you hear an important message which is going to require from you to make some kind of move, to make some kind of decision, in particular when it comes to some kind of dealing, signing or starting something. Just go for it, my gorgeous Capricornius, just go for it. It is all going to be connected to the actual swift change that you wouldn't normally have, but also at the same time it's an important news that you are going to have that is going to kind of confirm to you what needs to be reorganized. When you hear an important news this week, you will know what needs to be organized, because that is going to be the direct reflection of what you're actually going to hear. On another hand, pay attention to your body also. Your body is going to reveal something to you. Pay attention to your body. Maybe your knee is going to reveal something to you. Maybe your stomach is going to reveal something to you. Maybe your bones are going to reveal something to you. Maybe your hair is going to reveal something to you. Maybe your eyebrows are going to reveal something to you. You know, it just depends. You know, pay attention to your body, because your spirituality is going to be up top like this. Top, and that means that the power is going to be perfect when it comes to recognizing certain things in your life through your own body, spirit and soul. It's important to pay attention, because your body is going to reveal something to you. On another hand, you know what I actually like? You're going to be able to avoid that little bastard, what I said, because you will know. But on another hand, you know, it's to do with the actual obstacle. You know, there is an obstacle that you are going to have, and the obstacle that you are going to have was really kind of preventing you to be as active and as determined as you could have been so far. And you don't realize this. We don't realize this sometimes until we reach this certain point or a certain stage in our life. So this is why this is going to be so significant, because that obstacle is coming to an end, and it's most certainly going to really beautifully going to reflect on your activity and determination, because as soon as that obstacle comes to an end before the end of this week, a problem, annoying problem, my lord, there are lots of other people were affected by, people very dear to you, people very important to you. This is like a problem that is very much on mirroring other people at the same time. It's just projecting very strong energy, which means that it's something that has been going on for a while and other people have been affected. But then on another hand, the good thing about it is like it's like a chain reaction, domino reaction at the same time, when things have such a nice spiritual flip-flop moment. And now it's time to actually enjoy this, because from the obstacle slowly coming to an end, there is an important idea that you're actually going to have, an important idea. At the same time, this is to do with your desire, and it's to do with the determination and strong willpower. This is very important because it's to do with the resolution. So an important resolution is going to take place, and my lord, I know it sounds crazy, but you can expect a miracle. You can literally expect a miracle. So which means that anything that comes through to you this week, just have your eyes open and be as open-minded as you possibly can. Do not bring yourself down. No, baby, no. Because you also have such a strong energy that have such a strong impact on yourself, within yourself, in particular when you don't light your own candle. And this happens when you're thinking in a negative way. So it's very important to stay positive, stay optimistic. And that's why I say that expect expect a miracle. On another hand, it's to do with an important resolution, which is going to lead towards you making an important desire, determination, and very strong willpower, baby. But it's to do with an intelligent choice which you are going to make. An intelligent and important choice, my gorgeous Capricornius, indeed. Okay, so now you see trust. You just need to trust yourself. Trust yourself. This is an important week to trust yourself. Okay? Now, the next sign that I'm going to be talking about, I am going to be talking about aquamarini, 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 aquamarini. Aquamarini, my gorgeous aquamarini. Of course, this is like, you know what, I really like it because now you're also going to be able to find this week quite beneficial for you. You know, there are things slowly changing in your life. There is vibration slowly changing in your life. There was a very busy and very powerful moment when it comes to the actual vibration. There was so much happening in your lives, my gorgeous aquamarinis, my Lord. There was so much happening in your lives, you know, over the last 6 to 7 months. It was absolutely crazy, and you know it. But then again, on another hand, you just had to go along and you just had to stay committed to the task at hand. And you know what, you did the right thing, because most certainly now you managed to reach this, you managed to reach to this stage, you managed to reach this particular level. So now it's all about the powerful unfoldment where the aquamarinis are going to have a time to relax and chill out. Oh, yes, baby. Now it's all about an important sincerity that you're going to have. Now it's all about the karma, and it's all about the journey, and it's all about the spirituality, and it's all about the positive and good and non-selfish things that you have done over the last 6 or 7 months. Now it's going to be such a nice, beautiful spiritual slap which you are going to get back, instead of being blamed for certain things that were just very heartbreaking to you lately. You know, instead of being blamed for things that you know that you give 1,000,000,000% towards, now finally you're just going to have your moment as of this month onwards. This is very important when it comes to the society harmony, and also very important when it comes to your own peace and tranquility, because you didn't feel this for a while. I know it sounds crazy, it sounds wild, it sounds mental, but this is very important because you will be able to find this energy so beneficial, not only about a peace, but the actual tranquility. This energy is going to be very significant, and that in itself, it's connected to the fruits of labor, and it's also connected to the rest after strife. You know, it's an important union which is going to take place, but also it's about a certain reunion at the same time. You will realize that you're going to need to make certain changes. You will realize that these changes that you're going to need to make are pretty much so connected to you reaching a quite strong, powerful stage of your life, but it's to do with your emotions. It's to do with perhaps somebody in your life, maybe something it's not quite as great as you think as it maybe is, but you are aware of it. I'm not being a dark Lala again. I'm not being a dark Lala. Sorry, dark Lala striking again. I'm not being a dark Lala. I'm sorry, but it's just something that you're aware of, something that maybe you are doing that you don't want to do, maybe something that your partner is doing, if you've got a partner, that you don't want your partner to do. Or like, for example, something, you know, if you haven't got a partner, and then this is completely connected to the certain blame, something that you're blaming yourself, and that blame is preventing you to kind of make a decisions. And now it's important for you to realize that you should not blame yourself like whatsoever. So for those of you that are single and you haven't got a partner, then it's just something around you that you need to pay attention to. For example, when it comes to your immediate family, when it comes to your kind of like when it comes to your best friends, you know, on one hand, you know, someone is going to really need your help badly, but on another hand, you really have to be aware of someone, because someone is not what they say to be. Someone is not really good. I know, dark Lala strikes again. So when it comes to those of you that are single, And those of you that are in relationship, this applies as well. You just be a little bit careful, because there is someone around you who you shouldn't be trusting, but you're trusting them, but you should be careful. And there were very strange thoughts that you had about this person not that long ago that seemed like absolutely out of this planet. But you just need to understand that you were actually right, and you just need to kind of protect yourself. And the way to protect yourself is just to not allow yourself to get hurt by going low. No arguments, baby, whatsoever. Raise your vibration, but you've got a long way to go. You've got a long way to learn. I'm sorry to say this, Dark Lala strikes again, but how to deal with this maybe person is just to basically not to. This is the last thing you would do, is to try to like kind of make things even worse. So if you could, it would be the worst thing to do, to just go into it. There's no point, baby. No, baby, no. What you need to do is just slowly start drifting away. Just slowly start removing yourself from the situation, because energetically you are there. Energetically you understand, because you reached a certain point, a certain stage of your spiritual journey. So you do not need to do anything longer. In fact, what you should be doing is just to try to do everything to make situation as smooth as possible, but and remove yourself from this person and the situation as smoothly as possible. This is what your job would be, without realizing for this person, like maybe that you know certain things, maybe that you're aware of certain things, maybe that you are careful about certain things. So this is exactly what you should be doing. I know this is very complex. I know this sounds really bizarre, but it's just basically you just protect yourself, in particular when it comes to the certain arguments, or when it comes to the certain misunderstanding. I know I'm going off now, but it's like basically from September, I'm not talking about this week, but right until the end of this year, if you could just avoid as many arguments or negativity or any things like that you can be part of. If you can avoid it, it would be fantastic, because that way you're gonna get so much out of it. You're gonna gain so much out of it that you wouldn't normally gain. My lord, my lord, my lord. On another hand, just remember, my gorgeous aquamarine, it is the time of the greatest honor, and it seems like, I really like this, I really do. It seems like you're finally going to be recognized. Oh my God, this is so deep, okay? And it's really important, but it seems like you're going to be recognized by someone really special this week. By somebody really special, I mean somebody really significant in your life. But also this is going to mean to you so much, because this recognition is going to be everything. This recognition is going to be so important. This recognition is almost going to make you feel like emotional, like really emotional, but in the best possible way. Because at the same time, on half of you will be able to be like, half of you is going to be like your reaction, oh thank God, I prove it to myself. But then on another hand, something is immediately going to be revealed to you. This comes with the feelings, it comes with the emotions, it comes with the karma, it comes with your spiritual journey, but it also comes with a whole new spiritual path that you found yourself recently. When I say recently, within the last year and a half or the last couple of years or so have been kind of the part of your new path, my gorgeous aquamarines. Indeed, the last couple of years, what happened, what went different, not necessarily in a bad way or anything like that. No, baby, no. In general, it's the new path. You were part of the new path, new energy, new dimension, new world, So now this is just going to seem so strong and so powerful. And at the time when you were uncertain with your path and journey and things and decisions that you took along over the last six or 7 months, you're going to have such a strong and powerful confirmation, my gorgeous aquamarine, like there is no tomorrow. You also need to remember, that this week is going to bring you a highly important time when it comes to your own transformation, some kind of crazy idea you're going to have, and you should just kind of write it down and pay attention to it. And also, most importantly, I'm going to say to you, pay attention to what is on your mind every single morning. I said this before and I'm going to say it again. Pay attention to what is on your mind very first thing in the morning, because one of the mornings that you are going to have something really amazing, it's going to be on your mind, and it's just at the same time you will have the answer to the problem, to the actual an ongoing problem, but at the same time it is just all about this solution and the power and the energy and the courage that you are going to have at the same time, that it's about to shift you into a whole different dimension. And once you're shifted there, you will know exactly what to do, because it's not about you having this strong willpower and desire to do this and deal with this problem that you're going to be aware of one of the mornings, but it's more about you acting in a certain way and following that path. And once you do this, you will see that there is something absolutely mind-blowing going to be revealed to you. Two things in particular are going to change, which are ultimately going to change your life. Why? Because this is all part of your transformation, my gorgeous aquamarines. It's important indeed. On another hand, it's all about the activity that you are going to feel and determination at the same time. I really like it because it's about who you are. It's about your experience. It's about how you're finding yourself. Very important. But also, you're going to need to be analytical this week. You're going to need to be analytical when a certain problem comes up, certain kind of question. You don't ask anyone else. You need to be analytical yourself and work it out yourself indeed. On another hand, an important idea you are going to have this month, and this is so significant because that it's going to kind of make you aware of some kind of disappointment when it comes to somebody else, but it's nothing that you didn't know before. But most importantly, this idea is just going to be like, ooh la la, no more dark lala anymore. This idea is all going to be about the new possibilities, new relationships, new approaches to all problems, but also most importantly, new knowledge. It's going to take you here. It's going to bring you here. You will remember how important it is to see the good, to see the good things in all things, really. Okay, so now the next sign that I'm going to be talking about, it's going to be my gorgeous, my ever so precious, my beautiful Pisces. Now, this is good, my gorgeous Pisces, because you've got another important spiritual flip-flop moment, which means that there is an important reward waiting for you, just like every other sign, my gorgeous Pisces. As I said before, because now we are reaching the end of this year almost, we've got 3 months left, a few months left until the end of this year, and this is 9, 10, 11, 12, I guess 4 months here, but we've got a few months left until the end of this year. But that just means that things are going to be more and more intense when it comes to every single one of us. But because we all have a different spiritual journeys, we all have a different past lives, we all have a different karma, timing way, it happens in a different times, and it depends when we make certain changes, when we make certain adjustments, readjustments. It's all direct results of other things and reflections that we have been doing and we have been focusing on. But what is very good when it comes to you, my gorgeous Pisces, and when it comes to this week, it just seems like from the beginning of this week, you're going to start feeling like really, really wonderful, in particular when it comes to a rather refreshing energy. And this is going to shake you up so beautifully, and it's going to re-energize you from the beginning of this week. So most certainly the actual first day of this week on Monday, you're going to feel like, ooh la la, you're just going to feel so good. And even if you don't feel straight away good from the first from the time you wake up in the morning, even if you feel really low, just remember, my gorgeous Pisces, you've got a power. The power is within you. You've got a flame. The flame is within you. You've got a candle. You're lighting the candle, which is within you. So that candle sometimes need to be lit. So it's your passion. It's who you are. It's your reflection. It's your strength. It's your power. My point is, even if you're on the first few days, first first couple of days you don't feel like, oh, you feel like all down, you feel low. No, baby, no. Just remember what I said. It's up to you. It's about your energy. It's about your power. It's about your projection. It's about your mind. It's about your karma. It's about your spiritual journey. Sometimes the energy is very heavy. So if it does feel a bit heavy and unusual, this is actually a really great sign, because at the same time you will know that you will be able to activate this energy, and once you do this, you're gonna be on top of the world, my gorgeous Piscelinis. So if you feel like a little bit uncomfortable, if you feel tired, if you feel kind of unusual, this is actually, the weirder you feel, the better it's going to be, the more significant it's going to be, and the more power you're holding within. This is exactly the direct reflection of the energy within you. But what am I saying now is, if you feel low in the first couple of days, it doesn't matter. All you need to do is basically just get up, or just go out if you can, just do things, start things, start doing things, do things, without, even if you feel like low or something, all you need to do is to make that spiritual knock in your life. When I talk about spiritual knock, it's important now. You just need to throw yourself into the situations. You need to start doing things. All you should not do, if you possibly can, avoid to let yourself go, or just avoid to not to respond to things, or avoid things by just not doing things. All you need to do is just start things. If you need to talk about something important, go for it. If you need to resolve something important, go for it. If you need to start a new job or new work, if you want to apply for things, go for it. Because if you do it this week, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be mental, because the energy is going to be absolutely superb, but it's always with an element of surprise, which means that spiritually you will grow, and there are going to be other things that are suddenly going to start interesting you, other things that suddenly you're going to start feeling really attached to, like you want to explore things. So this is why it's so important to, even if you feel like really low, you just go for it, you start, you do, you begin, because that by the end of the week, it's going to take you somewhere else. It is going to bring you an amazing spiritual gift, and this happens when it's the actual energy. It's like within the last 8 months, maybe you felt the energy very heavy. Within the last 8 months, you kind of, you were felt like your energy was draining really quickly, and then maybe that was affecting you, in so many different ways. So it was affecting your energy, it was affecting your way of thinking, that was affecting your planning, that was affecting your ambitions, that was affecting your longevity. When you're doing things, very soon you would feel like your energy is so drained, and then you would be blaming yourself, and then that would affect you in so many other ways, because without realizing, this energy is not very good, because it's draining you, and then that on another hand affects you when you're meant to be doing big things in life. So that in particular, when it comes to making big decisions, subconsciously you're like, oh, I'm not ready. No, baby, no, you are. And this is what you're gonna realize, that you are ready for something absolutely mind-blowing at around the end of this week, my gorgeous Piscelini. Something mind-blowing, a mind-blowing change, which is just going to start an amazing fire and passion within you. This is going to be your rebirth. This is going to be your beginning. On one hand, it's just a confirmation where you needed confirmation, which makes you really a little bit weak lately, because you didn't have enough confirmation or praise or an honor when it comes to you, when it comes to things that you have been doing. So now this is going to be like a beautiful spiritual flower that you're going to be able to see, that you're going to be able to touch, that you're going to be able to smell, which you weren't able to do before. And that in itself is going to reflect on you absolutely incredibly. So now this is all about the actual lack of ambitions and drainage of energy that you had over the last 8 months, and that was affecting your energy. So this is now going to bring you really beautiful feeling of being centered, which means that try to contemplate, and try to find out things while you're contemplating, and while you're relaxing, while you're meditating, because while you're doing this, while you're contemplating and meditating, or while you're contemplating and grounding yourself, at the same time, this is going to bring you a very powerful focus, and there is an incredible all, two things that are actually going to happen. Thing number one is the answer to your problem that is going to surprise you and come out of nowhere. And the other thing is going to be an idea at the same time. So it's about the focus, which is going to bring you the new perspective, and also two important things, one what to pay attention to, and another one is going to be like an idea that is also just going to set you on the way, set you on the journey. Let go of resentment. This is also very important. This week is important. Someone is going to be the part of your journey, and you should just forgive and forget. I know it's easy for me to say, but it's important because it's not about them. It's about you allowing yourself and you allowing your spirit to evolve in the best possible way. And you just need to remember, that, there will be the challenge that you will have at around the end of the week, the certain challenge that you're going to feel. And just remember that this is such an important time where you're going to feel maybe not ready for this, but just remember, yes, you are. It's all part of this. It's all part of this energy. It's all part of this dimension. And even that you not feel maybe ready, just remember that this is the time to accept life challenges, because there is something that is going to happen. There is something that is going to end up in your life this week, just out of the blue. But in March 2021 is going to have a direct connection with this, and you will see how much of this all made sense, and you will also see how important is to follow synchronicities at the same time, okay, and understand the synchronicity at the same time, because this is also very often connected to us, who we are, and to our own activity, energy, passion, and change. It's to do with the redirection and direction, at the right time. And that in itself, it's also an amazing time to you will have the ability to learn very quickly this week. I know it sounds weird, but you will have the ability to learn very quickly, and this in itself, you take it on a whole next level by trying to pay attention to what is calling you, trying to pay attention what you feel attached to, trying to pay attention like, oh, I want to read up about this candle. You read up about this candle. Oh, I want to read up about aloe vera. Read up about aloe vera. Oh, I want to put this aloe vera on my face, but I don't know how to do it. Just find out how to do it. There is something that is going to happen out of the blue. My Lord, by Selene, so spontaneously like that, and then this is going to go somewhere else, and then this is going to go somewhere else, and that somewhere else is going to go somewhere else. So this is why you need to pay attention to everything that you want to learn, everything that you feel like you want to learn, everything that you feel like you want to connect, because there is something in particular that is going to bring a tiny little butterfly moment, which is just going to become a huge point when it comes to your own transformation and your life, okay? And also, on another hand, my gorgeous Pisceans, just remember that this week, whatever you do, whoever you are, my babies, I love you. But just remember this week, my gorgeous Pisceans, that basically personal effort is very important, okay? Personal effort is very important. Pisceans, please remember this. Whatever you are, whatever you do, wherever you find yourself at, personal effort is really important, and it's going to pay off for you indeed. On another hand, just remember to stay committed to the task at hand. Very important. And also, it's about the actual security that you are going to have and comfort that you are going to have. I really like it, because this is going to be something that is most certainly going to also lead towards you being wary of the situation in life that you no longer want to be part of. But on another hand, your eyes are also going to be open towards the actual possibilities which are going to lead ultimately towards new people in your life, but also at the same time completely new approach to the actual old problems that you are going to have at the same time. This is very exciting, and also an important time to practice the art of transformation, and to live in the moment as much as you possibly can, because that is also in itself going to be a strong point of new direction, new dimension, which you're going to be projecting at the same time. My God, my Pisceans, this week is going to be remarkable, and you will see exactly what I mean. Okay, my gorgeous people, I love every single one of you. Thank you ever so much for watching my videos, my gorgeous people. I'm sending you brightest blessings, lots of love, healing, peace, and light. So I'm sending you brightest blessings, lots of love, healing, peace, and light to every single one of you, my gorgeous people. Thank you ever so much for watching my videos. Sasha Bonasin, Psychic Medium. Love you. Bye.